Welcome, welcome to Radical Earth Heart Resonance. And it's a joy to have each one of you here with us tonight. Claudia and Susan and Peter and Martin and Tony. And it says Lotus, but Shelley said your name was, what was your name, dear heart?
Danelle. Lotus.
No, okay. I know the face, so I didn't recognize the name. Yes, bless you, Danelle. And Tyhson and Karen. So yeah, Tyhson and I and Shelley are part of the Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing Consortium. And we've been working together for years with Earth resonance and dowsing and with healing places and be they buildings or be they land, or we have an amazing repertoire of gifts that we like to inform people that if they feel called to do this, it's not as hard as you think. That most of it is really just opening up yourself to the resonance of Mother Earth and listening, not so much with your mind, but with your energy field. And so that's why the dowsing rods come in handy, or some people use a pendulum, and some just tune in. Some just have this gift of being able to tune in and listen. And so I bring that up because Shelley and I have been on this journey on the Androscoggin River that we started last year, and we bless rivers, and we're shifting energy in rivers, and we never finished it. And we were told by a grandmother that we had to start the whole thing from the scratch again, that too much time had passed. So that's where we've been this week, is walking the land along the rivers and stopping and listening. And it's just been an amazing process to do that. And so what I'm encouraging everybody to do is to get out on the land and get to the water and to really tune in to what it's saying to you, and trust what it's saying to you. So again, we're on day 3 of this river, or day 2 of this river run, and we got to the point where we stopped in one day last year, and we're going to continue 2 more days to the ocean. And what the process is we carry the water from the source to the ocean and do these blessings along the way. And so this is where we've been, and she's resting and been on sabbatical from go to the hole in the connection field, just recuperating and regathering strength and energy. So I guess my question for all of you is, where you live, is there any water? And what would your watershed be? Do you know that?
I do not know my watershed. I am in Ridgecrest, California. I'm in the desert. I'm on the southern western side of the eastern Sierra Mountains.
Okay. So what you would do is find the nearest river, and then find the source of that river. And usually if it's a hill, and it may not be, it may be the ground source. And that's basically wherever that water area is your watershed. And there may be more than one river or stream coming out of that. So basically what it is really tapping into Mother Earth in a way that we don't normally do. And most people don't know what their watershed is. No, most people, well, yeah, the river is over here, and I know it's such and such river, but I don't pay any attention to it. And what they are is really the arteries of Mother Earth. This is how I look at them. They're the veins and the arteries of Mother Earth. And they come from deep, deep wells will feed them. The mountain will feed them. And really, they're just like the neural system and the vein system in our own bodies. And so when we tap into that, we start to begin to feel the energy of the area. And we know whether it's sick, or we know whether it's not feeling well, or if there's an issue. And that's where we come in, and then we start to do some land healing, and we start to connect energy. And you can do that through ceremony. And there are many ways to do that. So it's just about opening yourself to a new relationship with Mother Earth that we had originally as indigenous people. The original indigenous people of an area knew where the water was. They knew where the heartbeat was. They knew where they could plant their crops. And it was because they were really so connected energy. And we've lost that ability over time through being mechanical and in the industrial evolution, and we no longer have to grow our own food. We no longer have to go find our water. We just turn on the faucet and hopefully it's clean. And now we know that we're in this place where it's not clean. And we know in this place where the earth is not healthy. And so the responsibility is for all of us is to, how can each of us, both individually and collectively in groups, shift that energy to make it more vibrant and able to heal? So that's my introduction for this tonight. And we've been working on several things. And Brother Tyhson, I will just hand over the microphone to you. What's coming up for you as you come in tonight?
Well, I was fortunate that this weekend, I was out on the lake, Shuswap Lake, which is 1,000 kilometers of foreshore, like a huge H in the landscape. And we were on a pontoon boat, and there was mist on the lake, and it was just one of those glorious afternoons where being one with the lake, and the osprey have gone now, but the eagles were still there. And just being with the lake was incredible. It's too cold to be swimming, so I haven't swam for about a week or so, but I've been missing that every day. I was in the water, being blessed by the water, and getting ready to get the wood together. We now have a whole bunch of cedar that we're chopping up for kindling, and we have some fir that's about to arrive. So getting ready for the winter, and we've just finishing off our blackberries now. I'm about to pick our apples. Carrots got harvested and the beets today. Yeah, so it's been, the garden has been amazing this year. It's been really bountiful, having 4 adults focused on the garden and the energy and working with the Diva Kingdom. So I'm really feeling blessed. We're in the midst of the seasonal changes, and the full moon has been dragging me out of bed with all of its energy. It's just been absolutely amazing. My bedroom has no curtains, so the moon comes right in and wakes me up in the middle of the night. So yeah, life is good. And thank you, GoTo, for phoning me on your journey and talking about the visitation that you had from the hawk, which means that Shelley's on track, because that's her totem animal. So thank you for doing that. So yeah, so that's what's happening here. The sun's just setting now. I've had dinner early, learning to do intermediate fast, so I won't be eating until the next 16 hours. So yeah, learning how to manage my body. And look at that beautiful little being there.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it could be a kitty cat with a pink nose. Oh, it's not a kitty cat with a pink nose.
Only when she wants to be, right?
And oh, there she goes with the big kitty cat.
Go.
Oh, there she's back. Yeah, so that's it. So thanks for asking.
Yeah, so part of tonight is really in this resonant field is what's coming up for each of you where you live. Tapping into the land or the water. And so I'm just going to open the field. I'm going to just do a little resonance here to just bring us all into circles. So if we could all just take a deep breath and relax and know that the energy of what we're breathing in and what we're exhaling is not something we can't see or feel. It really is alive. We see it in clouds and we can feel it as it touches the water in our mouth and it becomes cool or warm depending on whether we inhale or exhale. And as we do that, let's realize that that is actually, we're breathing in the air of Mother Earth's breath. Imagine it, Mother Earth is breathing and we're inhaling her breath and we're exhaling and she's inhaling our breath. It's done through the trees, and the trees are this great part of the network that allows us to stay alive here on Mother Earth. All of the plants, all of the water, everything that is on Mother Earth has a certain resonance of life, and it offers it freely to us. So just rest and relax. Feel your energy being sent down into Mother Earth, and whether you just send it a little way or you seek to reach the center of Mother Earth, know that this connection is more than what we think it is. That we are actually a part of Mother Earth. That we are actually not just separate from, we are part of the whole of Mother Earth. And that as we move and as we breathe, she feels that. She knows that. Everything we do on this planet is known and felt by the presence, the intelligence of Mother Earth. And what we think and what we do and what we say and how we say it, the energy that we do it with is felt and known. And that we are now to come into this heart resonance, this opening of our hearts. Just imagine your heart being a circle of energy that is just opening, sort of like the lens of a camera. It just opens. It's opened slowly. And as it opens, it lets more light in and out. You can see more clearly and the light can shine in. This is resonance. What this is resonance. We are resonating. Deeply resonating with what can be put into words, but not fully understood. It's a connection, like the connection field. It's a connection where everything has the opportunity to be in balance, or it can shift into distortion in a very easy jolt or strong push or movement. And what the earth heart resonance is really about is balancing ourselves in that field, where to a place where we're not overpowering the energy of Mother Earth or directing it through our will, but allowing Mother Earth to guide us to say, scratch me here, push me over here, lift me here. Feel her talking to you, not in words, but in feelings. And allow those feelings to become an awareness. Speak to Mother Earth as if she was a person in front of you or within you. Feel that connection of wholeness. Knowing that they're really on an energetic and electromagnetic sense, we can never be separated from the heart of Mother Earth. No matter how we try, no matter what story we tell, no matter what scientific fact we find, this is who you are. This is who we are. And it's coming to know this presence that gifts us with the opportunity to work moment by moment within the healing of all of the wounds that are embedded into the fields of Mother Earth. And right now, this is what is being called forth to many of us, is how can we, both individually and collectively, assist in the releasing of the pain and the suffering and the collective tragedies of all life that Mother Earth is holding. How do we come together from our heart within her heart to assist? Allow that energy to fill you. And know that wherever you are, in any situation, you can come into that field of resonance and you will have the full support of Mother Earth. So as we take another deep breath and start to move back into the field of what we would call the present, Feel the peacefulness, the calmness. This is Mother Earth's gift to us if we're not too busy to listen. And so for many of you, I know you know this, and I know you practice this. But it's also good for us to remember, because we sort of take things and do it our own way. And we forget that we are connected at that level. And that's been my journey this week, is connecting to Mother Earth at that level and listening to what her guidance is leading me to do. And so as I bring you all back into the room, we have been in the past working with Peter. And Peter, perhaps you'd like to share your part of the journey with how you came about to deal with all that you deal with in grids and your practices. I know, I'm putting you on the spot.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for the.
Because it's connected, you know, what we see you do and what we're tapping into you do is really connected at that level. And it's what I do is connected and Tyhson does. And so, yeah, it's just a matter of confirming for all of us to hear it from somebody else.
Yeah. Well, I'm part of a closed river system right now, just to give you an idea of where I live. I'm in southeastern Arizona, and in the Sulphur Spring Valley, and all the rivers, all the drainage goes into a flat playa. It's a P-E-A-L-Y-A, and it's a big salt pan that's been filling up. There used to be a Pleistocene lake here 25,000 years ago. And so all this water goes into this central pan and then evaporates. And so our source, our delta, you know, it's like the Ogavanga Delta in southern Africa, where all the water comes in and creates the Ogavanga swamp once a year, and this takes care of all the wildlife in that whole southern African region. Same thing here. We have this water that settles in the valley, and then typically it settles in the valley, but this year we've had a drought. We didn't have any monsoons, so the sky rivers are stalled in this area. And where we are is actually a source for a sky river, because it all evaporates, goes up into the sky. It's part of the stream that feeds the Colorado mountains with all the snows and such. I wanted to say that as a hail to the Amazon sky rivers. San Paulo a couple of years back was nearly out of water completely because the sky rivers had stopped flowing, because they cut all the trees of the Amazon, or a lot of the trees of the Amazon that were transpiring and generating a sky river that would bring the rains to the San Paulo reservoirs. So when the country of Brazil, saw the clear scientific evidence that this was indeed the case, they stopped logging this entire area in the Amazon to allow that river to spring back to life, because trees transpire like 70% of the water that they take in. So in my piece is is looking at patterns in nature. I was a stonemason for 25 years, and in that capacity, I looked at sacred geometry, learned about cathedral building techniques and use of stone as a cultural medium throughout time. And this use of sacred geometry really rang my bell. And I asked the sacred geometry at one point, what's the point of using this sacred geometry in our buildings or in our lives? And he pointed out that any culture in the world that has used sacred geometry has survived 1,000 years. Those that don't kind of interface with the planet, because this geometry of nature is how we nest into the planet matrix, into the planet body. So I started, with that in mind, I started looking for patterns within the Earth's crust that were as like the patterns that we find in nature. The 5 spiral and all those studies that have been done. So I just took it up in a scale and started looking at the Earth as a sacred space, and just acknowledging that the Earth is a sacred space, and how is it a sacred space? So I went from there and found all these rings and the surface with geometries that were implicit to them. And typically the geometries that emerge are those of water. Sometimes I wear a T-shirt that says "Holy Water" on it, and there's the geometry. If you take the water, it has the H2O. The two H's are at a 104-degree angle. So that angle generates the Great Pyramid, if you will. The 51 times 50 plus 51, you end up with essentially 104, which is the bonding angle of water. So anything water touches generates sacred geometry. Our bodies, the earth, the trees, the sky, rivers, and it's all water at work. Beautiful stuff. So that's kind of the long and short of it. And that it's all in there with a whole mix of ley lines and everything else, which is but it's really beautiful work you're doing, Charlie, with this following the waters from the source to the sound. I think there's a radial blessing that happens when you work with the length of a river, not just in the strain of it, but the string of it, but it's a chord that's generated. It's a radius that's marked, and that loops around and becomes part of this greater system that you're involved with.
Yeah, thank you. That's, and I thank you for the introduction of the sky rivers too. We don't think about that because we just think of, the earth, but it's, again, as above, so below, as within, so without. So this, and the sacred geometry of all of this, what's impressing for me for people to share, about their watersheds and to deepen their relationship into the water is in this particular river, there's over 20 dams. And we're doing blessings at each of the dams to release the energies that have been negatively generated by the damming of the river. So, again, this is when there's one particular city that when you drive through, it was a mill town, and they had these factories. And when you drive into the land or into the town, everything starts to feel heavy. Everything starts to feel there's something wrong, and then you get an odor from the mills that have been there. That is, the mills may be closed for 50 years, but there's still that smell in the area. And so this is what's happening right now for all of us and we all have this gift and ability to address that and bless it. So the river walk is really this journey of the river, and it's actually becomes a teacher. And that's what working with the earth and working as we do, it begins to teach us more about relationship. And I'm bringing this up because we have this great diversity of relationship now going on amongst humans. People say, well, what's the answer? And this is what the water is telling me in this past week is to come back into flow, to stop trying to splash up here and splash up there and all of this, but to come back into this balanced flow, that humanity is out of balance. And so that's the message. So yeah, I again encourage everybody to work with the water and the land, and know that that's it. When you bring water to the land, as you say, the droughts. So you're where you are in the playas. They're basically, I would imagine, they're just salt pools, right? They're just dried up salt flats.
That's correct. Yeah, it's a problem for the sandhill cranes that come down from Nebraska.
Right.
Not having water this year, it's essential for them.
Yeah. So, again, so we've worked on properties. We've worked on Amani's property. We worked on Peter's medicine hoop, which is ancient trauma that is still held in the land from the forced migration of the indigenous peoples of North America to allow for the incoming people from Europe to take over. But in that process, all that trauma and all of that bloodshed and whatever, it went into the earth, and it's holding that energy. And this is part of what we're just trying to impress in people, is that we have this power to change that and shift it. Hello, Judy. Good to see you, darling. Yeah, pleasure to have you with us.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I was late.
There was no late. There's no time.
Perfect.
It's only now. This is all there is. Yeah.
I just sent you a picture, Charlie, that is of my watershed from last night, and you talked about the land and the water in balance. So if you could share the picture.
Well, how did you send it to me? I'm the most non-technical person.
I sent it to you and Tyhson, so maybe.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I could probably share my screen too, but anyway, I can
make you share your screen. Yeah, sure. If you'd like to bring this, this is what we want to do, is create this sort of open forum sort of thing, that what's relating to everyone. And now I've got Susan up here in the chat. Let's, okay, so what do I have to do? I can do something here. There's a, it says I can make you a co-host. Okay, and that will give you the ability to share your screen, I believe.
Okay. All right, let's see. Go. Can you see that?
No, we're still looking at you, darling.
Oh.
You're very beautiful, but this is more beautiful. I love you. Yeah.
Mm.
So where is that?
That is in that's the Pacific Ocean at La Conchita, so just south of Santa Barbara.
Just south of Santa Barbara.
Yeah, and that's not actually the one that's totally like a mirror, but anyway, it's there's I think it's this one. Anyway, there you go.
Ah,
Beautiful.
It's like, so when you were talking about the water saying, hey, come back into balance, you know, I always think of course, the ocean as being this place of that transition and transformation and the transition between land and water and where they meet and those energies coming together. It's such a powerful place. And this shows also the grace and the reflection they can have in balancing each other.
yeah, it's very healing. And you know, this is why people are attracted to the water, is because of that healing nature of that connection between earth and land.
And
And
this, because the clouds, sky, I mean, all the elements are here, right?
yeah, this is
Fire.
As above, so below.
As above, so below. So that's my water there.
yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
well, thank you for that. Thank you for that share. It's an important reminder. Sometimes we need those visuals to remind us that how do I want to say that beauty and that integrity and that cohesiveness in nature is really a reflection of how we are supposed to be meeting with each other.
Yeah.
You know, that image is, if we're not living that image, then where are we? And how do we bring ourselves back into balance? And part of this process is when you start to work with the earth and the water and the air and the elements, you automatically start to come back into balance without thinking about it. This is what many of us experience in the work that we do, that the intention at first is to go heal the land or go fix the problem, because you know, we think we're these great masterminds that can fix everything. That's the male mind going, yes. But it's the divine feminine that says, no, I'm just going to embrace this and love this. I'm going to carry the water. I am the water bearer, and I'm going to carry the water. Or I'm going to cuddle the water, or I'm going to embrace. And then we need to start that balance. We need to create that rebalancing of, and doing that with earth, we automatically start coming into balance ourselves. And we have Cherylistic live. Hello, how are you, dear?
Hi, I'm doing fabulous. I'm getting ready to leave Alaska in a week to drive down the Alcan or the Cassiar Highway to eventually go to Florida. Planning on stopping in Serpent Mound and Amani's Land also. But I had this urge to come up to this place called Hatcher Pass. Let's see if I can flip it around. Let's see. It's not letting me flip it around. Where am I? Start video. I guess I don't have enough juice to show you guys where I am. But in Alaska, we have many mountain ranges. And this is called the Talkeetna Mountains. And these are part of the oldest mountains here in Alaska, sandwiched in between the Alaska Range and the Chugach Mountains, which are both very young and still growing. So, and I feel as if that I am visiting a lot of places with the gold mines, etc. And the flow on the ribbon of gold seems to be coming up and coming up and coming up. Maybe it's just because of where I live. There's so many minerals here, so.
Well, that's a good raises a question for me. You know, do you feel that the gold is attracting you? Do you feel that that's the connection, or is there something within the land that the gold is in that's speaking to you?
I just find it interesting that you do find it in many places. I think the energy of the gold, because its male aspect, is definitely calling out to be balanced because it's been exploited. And then I feel as if each place has an energetic imprint because the gold was formed there. And then the human aspect of the destruction and the energetic imprint of all of the greed, you know, I know we're clearing that kind of concept of money, you know. I mean, the whole West was built on the gold rush. Alaska was built on the gold rush. People were hungry and greedy for Mother Earth's, you know, like sunshine, like sparkles, like, yeah. Something about the instant being rich, wealthy, you know? That's a great question.
Well, I you know, that's it. So sometimes I'm curious when I talk to other people, you know, what attracted them, why certain people are interested or seem to follow a certain element or a certain energy pattern. And what I'm finding now with people is it's not all the same. It's a real diversity. People are being attracted to certain aspects. So for me, whenever I do the water walks or whatever, I'm attracted to quartz, but that's, you know, the crystalline, and I'm always given piece of white quartz or quartz to place in the river, and then at that place I find another piece to place in the river at the next moment. And it's sort of the memory of the mineral content is saying, you know, we want to carry that energy until it's almost like saying, tell our brothers and sisters downstream that we're okay. So it's interesting, and I have a tendency to put human aspects to elements and minerals and trees and stones, which works for me. It doesn't work for everybody. So I'm always curious to see how people are communicating. And again, this is all about the earth heart resonance. Is Mother Earth will communicate with us and will guide us to these strange places or off the beaten path, and we'll find this amazing stone being or stone edifice that's couldn't be carved by humans, but it's there as a living presence to remind us that we're part of this. We're part of this planet. We're not just on it. I can go on for days. So how about somebody else sharing some kind of
I'll go.
Okay, Susan, yes, please.
And in a little second, I can try to show. I actually have a picture of it raining into my watershed. We'll see. I pulled it up. I'm on the phone on the other screen. We'll see if we can do that. But
okay.
So I live in Central Virginia, on the Blue Ridge Mountains on the east side. And my house is in the Rockfish River watershed, the Rockfish watershed.
Yeah.
And then Charlottesville is not too far from me, and that's the Rivanna watershed. And I used to volunteer the benthic invertebrates in the Rivanna watershed streams as an indicator of stream health. And also like mapped out, I forget the for morphology of some of the stream beds and how it, so I spent a lot of time there. And then those both flow into the James River, which flows to the Chesapeake Bay, which flows to the Atlantic. So that's where I'm at. And the water, I wanted to come in now because of what the last couple of people said. The living water and the minerals, that created life in the oceans. And that the water is alive. And then if you look as life evolved, we became multi-celled, but we have the living water flowing through us, and we need the minerals also. We don't think of it as something to eat, but you have to have those essential minerals. And the blood that's made in our bones, that flows through our bones, is mostly flowing through a crystalline structure. And it only makes sense that, and the crystals are very powerful, like you're finding, and then you're placing them along the river, carrying them and place them, and they're communicating. Well, they probably are. Because that's alive, that's the basis of life, is the water and the minerals. And then, life emerged up from that, the first single cell. So there's no way we can be disconnected from that, as far as I see it. Anyway, and light and water can carry like the biophoton energy of light, and can be a transmitter, like from the unseen to the seen. And that's what connects us all. That's probably part of that unified field. And then, with the gold, where the girl in Alaska was coming, lots of gold paths. Well, and then you were talking about the Trail of Tears, and a lot of the indigenous people, not only to make room for settlers, but there was gold found. So the Trail of Tears started when they found gold there in Georgia. They found gold up in the northwest corner, whatever. And so push them all, push the Black Hills, you name it. And, to most indigenous tribes, the gold wasn't even that useful. It was a soft metal. They didn't eat it. They didn't exploit it. But probably when you're going along these waterways and sensing the gold, it probably does need healing. And there was exploitation. And that's what I wanted to say about the metals. Those are the two things that came up for me. And if you want, I'm going to try to pull up my screen. I don't know if we can do this, but I got the picture behind this. So we can try a screen share. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Not on the computer. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that shot, I guess. And see if you can pull it up. I'm looking at the picture right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to make you, I can't pull it up from you. The only thing I could do is I can make you co-host.
And then,
Can you do that real quick?
Yeah.
yeah, you just click on share content and we should see your screen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, hang on. I don't want to take up too much time here. Okay, I'll go to mine.
You're entitled to as much time as we are.
Go to share.
This is the connection field.
I guess it's a photo, but I'm gonna just say share screen because it was on the screen. Maybe that won't work.
Yeah,
Let me see.
you should work. Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can just go in and find the photo right from my gallery, because then I'll learn something new. I know where the photo is.
Well, yeah.
I hope you're not. Are you seeing that all scrolling down? I hope not.
No, it's not appearing at all.
Well,
So
hang on,
if
because I
you
got to
call
pick
it
the
up on your
photo.
screen and then hit share screen, it should appear.
Okay.
We'll let you play with that. Yeah.
Well, here, let's just see. If it doesn't work, I'll pull it back up on the screen, but because I'm on the, I'd like to see if it works.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Susan has started screen
that-
sharing. So what are you going to put on the screen?
Because I get my,
There we
There
go. We got a picture. Yeah.
so
Beautiful.
that was good.
Okay.
So I'm up on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and it was an amazing day. There was storms off to the west, which is like the Shenandoah Valley, and there were storms off to the east. I'll make that a little bigger. So I was looking to the east. There was a storm coming down off there to the right. It almost kind of looked like a tornado, but there was a huge storm brewing over there, and you could see the rainfall coming down. There's like the edge of the storm. And then here's a cloud, but that's the Riverman River shed.
Oh, beautiful.
So I just remembered I had that picture up here, and then you go off down to the right, and I live down south more in the Rush River, but yeah, so that's just that recycling. And there was one, it was an amazing day. I ended up going on the Blue Ridge, taking lots of cool photos, but yeah, it's the Rivanna River watershed.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
James, to the Chesapeake. Thanks, that was a good learning tool. So I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to get off screen share, I think.
Yeah, I'll stop your sharing because you were
Okay,
there. Breaking up a little. It was eating up your bandwidth, I think. So no, that was beautiful.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm surprised I was allowed to do that on my internet, but
Well, see, you know,
But yeah,
this
so
is
that's
it.
what I
This
wanted
is
to
this
share.
is the Earth hard resonance. This is what happens. If it's supposed
I
to be
know.
seen, it will become visible. You know,
I
that's
think what happens too where I live, like if rural kids are trying to get on computers or something, I do much better in the evening and at night.
oh, that's
Um,
good.
Getting a little, I don't know what it is, but there, that was my share. So thank you, and
very
thank you
much.
everybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and then we have Karen, who is in Costa Rica. Are you with us, Karen?
Yes, I am.
Tell us about, yeah, so what I'm doing tonight is there's, you know, just a few of us here, but just trying to get this cohesive energy going to share about your, you know, sort of your experiences in your land and what that resonance is bringing up for you where you are.
Well, not really quite sure what to say. Are you talking about where I'm living right now, or the property that I own that has no home yet?
Well, whatever property you feel a real deep connection with, and how does that appear for you? Is it water? Is it trees? Is it just the atmosphere of the space?
Well, it's all of that. It's just beautiful. Plus, it's been raining for hours right now, but not downpouring loud like you've heard. Just steady rain.
Yeah.
It's a rainforest, so it's green most of the time. It's just an angel. No.
The kitty likes it, obviously.
Yeah, she wants to do something she's not supposed to do. She's letting me know, but Mom, I want to do it anyway. Right behind me, I have water flowing, which is flowing from one of the streams that come together up the road. Or stand on a bridge and see three come together. And they flow, a lot of water flows out to Lake Arenal, which is the largest lake in Costa Rica. It is partially a man-made lake for a hydro system. But the north end, more up this way where I am, was a lake, a small lake, and many, many rivers feeding this way. I'm in the Tiburon Mountains. I'm about 2,000 feet above sea level. So when most people think of Costa Rica, they think of this hot, dry place like the beaches, but especially the beaches in Guanacaste, which because of deforestation and development, and well, a lot of it is for cattle also, has gotten quite dry now. So they're having challenges with water there. So they take water from up here down there. But there is an area on the Aguacate property. If anyone's ever been to the website for Kristen Light Foundation, there's some pictures there. There's an area there where it's hilly and there's a dip in the hill where water often flows across. You know, just drainage, but you may semi-dam it someday and have a small pond. But there's some trees there, some beautiful big trees that when you walk into that area, you can't help but feel this amazing, like calm spiritual energy there in that part of the property. And there's just something about that spot. And of course, as long as we own that land, I have anything to say about it, those trees will never be cut down. There's just something very special about that spot. And then of course, when you climb down to the Quebrada, it's just a small stream that runs along a lower part of the property. It's just, you know, green and pretty, and you can walk into, you know, you can kind of climb into some of these streams and rivers, and they're big rocks and things, and just sit on a rock in the middle of the stream. And I love doing that. I haven't been able to do that for a while, but I loved doing that and still do. And so it's like that all over this country, though. There are areas of the country that you wouldn't know you'd left the United States now. They've changed so much, but that's all in the Central Valley near San Jose, where the bulk of the population lives. But as you get out into the countryside, I live in a small rural town area, and yes, Angel. What do you want?
He wants to talk.
Well, she's my little angel. She showed up afternoon of December 23rd in 2014 with an arm. She was about, I would say, maybe 5 to 7 weeks old, maybe, with skin on her one arm torn across and infected, and all by herself. And she's a strong, brave little girl because she climbed up a hill to get to where she popped over. I kept hearing this little noise, this little meow. I knew it wasn't one of my cats, and went out and grabbed her and did some healing work with her. And now she's pushing 6 years old now.
Wonderful, wonderful. You know, as you say that, I'm thinking about an attractor field. So here you are, where you are, and yet this cat found you.
Yes, I'm like a magnet.
And so this is why I like to have people, you know, talk about this, because this is how that communication system works. This greater communication system and this powerful being that we are can communicate beyond what we think. You know, we're taught we can only talk or write or do this or do that, and yet we communicate with nature, just like this cat found you.
Well,
The animal world that works on that naturally, but we as humans have lost touch with that. And so, you know, your story is very powerful to remind us that we are these powerful beings energetically. And when we align within ourselves and are in balance, and in balance with the community around us, we create this field of energy that immediately sends a signal. And this is what we've been doing with the medicine hoop. This is what we have done on people's homes and properties, like Imani, and maybe with Washington, D.C., as we move forward to shift the energy of that place.
I look forward to the work. What I can tell you is, for some time now, I've been getting many, many messages about just how important the healing of the planet is, the healing of Mother Earth and all those lines and areas that Peter has brought us.
Mhm.
And very, very important to clear some of this now as we move forward, working toward a new paradigm. We need to clear this old energy out and heal things very, very much so. And so it's
So
been an
this,
interesting journey.
no, this is the importance of what we're trying to have people to tap into, is to feel that resonance, to feel that resonant energy. It's, sometimes we, how do I say this? Sometimes we think too much. And that thinking is an energy. You've got two fields bouncing energy back and forth up there, and it creates a static. It creates energy that is not fully balanced. And so this is why it's important to pull that energy down into our hearts now, and to actually resonate more from our hearts. And then watch with our mind and send, and know that we consciously focus on where we're sending the energy without any attachments, just opening our hearts and sending the energy. Because there's less distortion when it comes from our heart center rather than from our head center. And I'm sure somebody, will take me to task on that, but because I can't explain that, but I know it.
There is one other very special place here called Lake Cote.
Yeah.
And it's a crater lake.
Mm-hmm.
That the story is that Jacques Cousteau came with one of his little submarines, but went down as far as he could, not finding the bottom. It's hard to see because it's one of those areas that gets blocked out. It has extremely powerful, palpable electromagnetic energy all around that lake.
Mm.
To the point that NASA has even, a friend found an article where NASA talked about the unique electromagnetic energy. And it's also where lots of UFO sightings have been. So it's an interesting little area here that I was pulled up to and guided to begin.
Wonderful. That's yeah. So again, tapping into that, that's, kind of what I'm referring to, is tap in with your heart and know that the information will come through, and not to try to overthink it. So we're all being called to do this. There's just many people who will deny it or want to manipulate it. And this is the importance right now for all of us, to open our field of frequency into a wider spectrum. And I don't know where that's coming from, but that's what I'm going to say to you, is that we have been operating in a spectrum that has been limited, and it's now opened. And we are being called, those of us who have that knowing and that calling, to step into that larger field now, that the information will come, and it's going to come through our heart chakra. So I can't verify that by any scientific means. I just, again, this journey on the river has been a journey where I've had to practice that. And in witnessing the power of that, I realize that each of you who listen to this call and are doing this work and have been doing this work for a long time, or people who are listening and new, are really going to have amazing shifts in awareness, and to allow yourselves to open to those and to trust all of what you understand. So with that said, I'll open it up to whoever else wants to take a bite of that apple.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I actually share listing again. It's interesting because someone brought to my attention today the reptilian energy, and how there's that it has been embedded into the earth in certain spots, and that there's only 10% remaining, that and that actually ties right into the gold for me. I believe it's that primal energy that's been that has been manipulated, and now we're clearing the final aspects of it with the Trail of Tears clearing and how it emanated out. So yeah, that was brought to my attention today about the reptilian energy. And I know our intuition comes from that primal energy, if we trust it to be true. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this journey of heading to down south. I've been fighting it for quite a while, not wanting to leave Alaska because it's in my heart and embedded in my heart. But I know for me, to really become myself, I need to do this journey back to some really old roots. I had once did this workshop where a fella had cleared some entities from me, and then he stepped back and said, oh my God, you're carrying the souls for the Trails of Tears. And that was about, I want to say 12 years ago that was said to me. So this will be a great relief for my soul.
Oh, bless you, bless you, bless you. Yes, indeed.
It's going to be quite a journey.
Yeah, I may be passing by you somewhere, but I don't know if I'm going to be allowed to stop and say hi.
I think you can. I don't think there's any borders that are disallow you at this point, but maybe there will.
Yeah, I have to prove I'm moving to go through from Alaska to Canada. So
yeah, the Yukon. Once you're in the Yukon, though, I think for the Yukon border into BC, I think you don't have to do anything. I know from going into the Yukon, you have to do your 2 weeks if you're going to, isolation if you're going to stay there. Why do I know that? Because we're friends. We're up there gold mining. So here's the story of gold again.
Did you all see Peter's chat about the gold and the quartz? And also the chat from Imani looking to see if there was a recent reading. I don't know if you did, Peter, or not, to see how the New Madrid is this week.
I saw those texts and wrote one of them, but yeah, I'm getting 90%. I don't know what Tyson's getting. You got to read a 75 last week.
Well, let's look, see what it is. Yeah, it's really up there, so I'm gonna count it out, so. 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, so it's really just about done, just about cooked.
Good work, Amani.
Yeah, really. So I'd love to share just a
May
few
I ask a
photographs.
question real quick?
Yeah, sure.
What do the numbers mean that you were talking about?
0 to 100, and on a 100% scale, or is 100 being fully activated and online.
So the New Madrid area is what you were talking about, and does somebody like measure like how do you get the number, or is it just intuitive?
I just told you I dowsed on a scale of 0 to 100. That's what I do. I'm a dowser, so I do. I read your aura. I read your energy. I read the Earth's energy, places energies, on a scale of 0 to 100.
Okay.
With 100 being totally in aligned, right? At 100% optimum.
What was the Madrid circle before you guys did the healing on it?
I
one
go
day,
back. I
think
know we did what Peter last time was, what, 75, was it? Last time we checked?
It was 75, and before we did some work, I think it was 10% or something.
Yeah, let me just check. We'll go back. So where was it in the beginning? Yeah, it was, I'm going to count it out. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10% activated. So we've come a long way.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully did that make sense to you, what I'm doing?
Yeah, I just didn't know if you were reading it off some kind of a little, it looks like you said you'll go back and check.
Yeah.
Are you looking at a tool?
No, I'm just looking at,
Do you have a little meter?
No, I just looking at the edge of my desk, which is a line that I represent as 0 to 100, and I just tells, and looking at that line, I can tell where we are in percentages.
Okay, cool. I got it. Thank
Nothing
you.
complicated at all. Pretty straightforward. Anybody can do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tyhson is a master dowser and teaches this to many people. So yeah, if you're interested in deepening that relationship, connect with him. He's quite a master.
The classes are open. I'm doing boots on the ground geomancy. So the class is open for it's a 12-month. So if you want to join us, do come and play. I'd love to share just a few quick photos of what it was like to be on the lake, if you could let me share.
Sure, I can do that.
Give people a sense of where I live.
Okay. Where are we going? Okay, make co-host. Right.
All right, so here goes here. So that's where I live. Can you see that?
It's not coming in.
Not yet?
No.
All right.
Got a blank page.
Oh. You don't see any of that, eh?
It says on my end, but I don't have the greatest internet, but I see a little thing that says you've started screen sharing. And for a second, I saw the little like edit tool come up, but I just get a spinny circle.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop
So
this and then see if we can come back over here and try
There's
again.
a couple of boxes, Tyhson. They just updated Zoom. So when you first hit share screen, look at the bottom left corner and make sure those boxes are ticked.
All right. Gotta get out of here. I have to find you guys now.
Bless you, Martin.
You disappear. As soon as I share my screen, you'll all disappear. All right, so I'm gonna try this again. So you should see a whole bunch of boxes, right? Here we go. Can you see that?
So there we go. We got a whole bunch of, we got your page.
Okay,
with
so Here's, can you see that?
Yes, where your hand is, the lawn picture? Where you
Yeah,
lift
so
it?
that's the medicine wheel in my front yard.
Okay.
That's our garden. And that's our little orchard and the view over the lake. And so that's my garden. This is just out on the lake. This is part of just a rocky shelf. It was on a very foggy, wonderful day. This is Mount Bastion. I just live under the shadow of this. This is the heart chakra of the Shuswap. And see if we can go here. This is just what it was like on the lake during a misty, wonderful day. And this is Mount Ida. She's the dragon in the landscape. She's the crown chakra, the sleeping dragon, and an extinct volcano in on the horizon. I think that's just a bright sun, foggy day. So those are a few photos just to give you a sense of where I live. All right. Did I stop sharing yet?
You did.
Okay, good.
Yes, thank you. And when I was able to, well, I don't know, I'm on the phone. If you're on a touch screen, I was able to go into your pictures once you pulled that up, and I could enlarge the individual pictures and move it around
Nice.
with my thing on a phone, on the phone. So I could, when you're doing the screen sharing, it's almost like we have it on our own phone. I don't have a touch screen computer, so that probably wouldn't have worked. But if you're on a device where you interact with the screen, you can actually enlarge other people's pictures and stuff that they share. So that was kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
we're all learning something, aren't we? Imani, how is everything where you are? Bless you, dear heart.
Everything's good. I had a very full day. I've been tending the morning circle in the connection field and bringing a lot of what I've learned and experienced in this group there, just really kind of behind the scenes, but clear about I don't know, it was just really powerful for me to get the direct feedback of going from 10 to 75. That was really cool, and that excited me a lot. Yeah, everything's good. I've been working, playing, collaborating with a team for the morning circle, and there's all kinds of amazing connections that are happening there collaboratively with art, and we've been playing there, and I want to just invite you all to come in the morning and feel free to make an offering. I know it's early for Tyhson and for Peter, but yeah, I'm feeling very, very blessed and grateful, and things are good. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. Thank you. The other question I have, it looks like we've gone almost an hour and a half. And is there something coming up behind us? And if so, what time? Or
10 o'clock is the Japamala.
okay, all right, okay. Just wanted to make sure that we exited before that happened. Okay. So I think at this point, I don't really know what we're going to do. Shelley's been on sabbatical, and I know she's thinking about things, how we're going to move forward in Radical Earth Heart Resonance. But even though I'm with her every day, I don't get all that information because we're focused on something else. So the gift is everything is changing and everything is shifting. I know we had talked about Washington, D.C., and I feel that we should do something about Washington, D.C. For the election. What that will look like, I don't know. And so for all of you to keep your minds open about that, and other places as well as we move forward. Peter, I don't know what's coming up for you, or Tyhson or anyone else. So, yeah, perhaps if, people could make some suggestions that would,
I thought that last week we decided for the end of October to do that circle that did take in Washington.
okay,
was-
yeah, well, no, it was mentioned, but I can't say that it was actually decided on definitely. So that was,
I
so
thought it
what was the name of that circle so I can let Shelley know?
Well,
That was Pilot Mountain.
Was Pilot Mountain, right?
Yeah, I want to add to that also, seeing that map for Pilot Mountain is one of the reasons why I'm going to Serpent Mound. And Anana Shuni said that she wanted to meet me there, and it's tentative that on November 1st, the Day of the Dead, we're going to do a ceremony there.
Okay.
She knows an elder that will allow access. So I have not contacted her since that was spoken about last week, but I will follow up on that tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should be doing the pilot circle for certainly before the election. I think that would be a very powerful thing to do. We know it's the last point on clearing the tail, last aspect of clearing the tail on the Trail of Tears, although it seems as though it has its own momentum and it's clearing on its own. So maybe we can bring that energy of clearing to Washington, D.C. Miracles can happen.
So that was the pilot circle. You have to bear with me. My human memory is not what you would call all that efficient. So Tyhson, you're aware of this. So, maybe we can have a talk with Shelley and, if you.
Well, that's actually it's coming from Peter.
Okay.
So it's a circle. Well, Peter, you can describe it better than I can, right?
Yeah, and that way there she can look at the video, watch the video and know more about it. Yeah.
Yeah, the pilot ring is another one of those imps, integral membrane peoples. And it's very, very coherent, has 8 points on it, one of them being the Serpent Mound. And there's an opposite energy going on. And so the one point is Washington, D.C., and its opposite point is Stone Mountain, Georgia. So the north and south energies are brought into harmony within the 8. That frequency of 8, the octave, raising the frequency of the octave. So that's at play there. But there are also a number of ley lines that intersect there at Pilot Mountain. One being it's variously called Satan's Axis. It's an alignment of cities along the eastern seaboard. That is a great circle around the planet. So it's plays into a lot of dynamics about warfare and the other. The blaming the other, pointing fingers at the other. So there's a lot of cultural healing that can transpire within the circle. And the center point is very clearly a volcanic vent that goes deep into the planet. So you're in the 7 sacred direction context there.
Do you have a picture you can screen share? Peter, do you have a picture to screen share? Or Tyhson, of that circle?
Do I? Not immediately, I don't, but I can send you an email. I will send you that email.
I just thought while you were talking about it, then I'll get a visual. I'm doing it in my head, but.
Let's see. Let me see if I can recent Pilot Mountain.
Because someone can just make you
Can I
guest
get a screen
co-host,
share,
and then it's
Charlie?
pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, you're
Yeah. It's
I like the name Pilot Mountain. So I like the pilot boat, right?
okay. All right. Yeah, here it is here.
okay.
Sorry, I'm out of, let's see, there we go. No. So here it is essentially. We have DC opposite Stone Mountain. We have Serpent Mound opposite this dolphin colony over here. There's a tremendous population of dolphins that work this area. This is Cape Fear. So this line here goes up to the headwaters of the Mississippi and southeast towards the center of the Bermuda Triangle. So the Bermuda Triangle is another one of these Earth rings. It's the same size as the Earth's inner core. So there's an emission. There's like this conversation happening between core surface and stellar energy coming out of Bermuda. And then there's this other opposite thing up here in Moundsville, West Virginia. There's this Hare Krishna temple up there. So we have the blue god, the spiritual warrior, Krishna, opposite Paris Island Marine Corps training base down here. So there's this conversation with that, a spiritual warriorship, the physical warriorship. And this alignment here going east-west is the Missouri Compromise, which we worked on last month or week, last year. That there's the Trail of Tears is around this New Madrid Fault area, which I can't really get a hold of here for some reason. I'm sorry. Over here is New Madrid. And the Trail of Tears comes out of North Carolina and comes around this like a bloodshot eye. So this alignment here was a divide that really generated the political divide of this that led to the Civil War, the Missouri Compromise. So it was north of that line was slavery, or non-slave, south was slavery. So there's a kind of a line in the land that's affecting the planet body that we successfully have released the trauma from both the consciousness of the people and the consciousness of the land. And this plays right into that with a Serpent Mound up here, the Standing Stone State Forest in Tennessee. I guess there's standing stones there. I've never been there. Great Dismal Swamp was where a lot of escaped slaves went to hide from the posses chasing them. So that's that. And up in DC, we have a highly structured geometric form there that is, everyone's seen the Masonic patterns that are so the great pentagons and such that were employed there in DC area. But what a lot of people don't really get about DC is that at one point it was a great diamond, north, south, east, west, laid out by a Moor, a Ethiopian fellow, because we didn't have the knowledge to do that at the time, to survey such a. So he used the stars to lay out the DC diamond. And at the center of that diamond, which, circle of center, it's, when you get that geometry, you look at what's there. And nobody really looks at that point in the DC setup. And that's where the Organization of the American States is, the first attempt at the United Nations. It was the Organization of American States. And so they own the center point of Washington, D.C., and it's a piece of land that's separate from the continental United States as a body, as a land. It has a separate sovereignty and domain. So the design of the building just speaks of a Templar commandery. It has the 3 portals in the opening, and it's got a statue of Isabella, which is the kind of the replicating the Black Virgin, if you will, the worship of Magdalene and such is kind of written all over the building, and the building itself has all around the soffit. It is full of all these magical symbols of the Americas. And then in the backyard, there's a 30-foot high gazebo with a death mask in it, a 30-foot tall death mask. So, and in front of that, in the reflecting pool, there's a statue of this Aztec god by the name of Xochipelli, who was one of the gods of human sacrifice, but he was the god of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, actually, in sports. And he's always shown with flowers, the psychedelic flowers and mushrooms and stuff growing on his feet. So there's like this seed at the center of our republic that is not of our republic. And it's part of this kind of like world control organization, Organization of American States. So, and this ley line goes right through it. So the one that comes up, the civilization grid, if you will, coming up over from Europe and down the East Coast through New York City and Boston and those places. So it's a great little X. X marks the spot. And I guess that's yeah.
Does that one behind it show the grid, an extension of the same grid, or is that different?
This is the. Oh, looking at that. The magenta line is essentially that. Here's what we worked with last year, and this is the Pilot Mountain ring. You can see how the dynamism, the inner kind of conversation, all being keyed to Serpent Mound. So very important site and all this.
One of the things that I resonated with in what you just shared, Peter, is that you said that there's a very active pod of dolphins. And every time I look at the New Madrid line and the white lines for the Trail of Tear lines, I see a wounded dolphin. It's just like, it's the dolphin's going west. It doesn't really have a tail. Like if you scroll further west so that we can see the white lines.
Oh yeah, I see the dolphin.
It does have a tail because part of the Trail of Tears started in St. Augustine, Florida, where the Seminole Indians also walked to the same points. And then Jacksonville is on that 30-degree mark off the Bermuda Triangle. which happens to be where my parents live, my final destination.
Wow.
Bringing that, the 30th parallel, like the 3630, that was the Missouri Compromise line. It's kind of, latitudes are frequency, and longitudes have to do with time, as measured from England. So, equator is like root chakra energy, and the 30th parallel is more, in my conversation, is more heart centered. It's where all the rivers flow in, like our veins in our own bodies. You have the Mississippi River on the 30th, and on. A lot of major rivers around the planet, all either delta or source off the 30th parallel. So a very powerful place to be going. Thank you for doing that work.
Yeah, it's just all unexpected as far as I know. Yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing, really.
Yeah. Sounds like you got some good guides that are helping you out.
Yep.
Yeah, well, look, I can see you guys. That's awesome. You're my guides.
Okay.
Peter, how far down? I'm just not remembering my geography. Are the Bahamas as close to the Bermuda Triangle down there? Because I may be going to Bimini for dolphins, coincidentally.
Well, going back to this one, this is Bimini down here, where this is the Becker-Hagens grid. One of the major points of the Becker-Hagens grid is in Bimini. This right there.
So Bimini's right in that triangle?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
We might lose you.
Yeah. Interesting.
So these are various lines of the universal vector geometry. You can get this. It's available on as a KMZ, which is a Google Earth file that you can download and then have the entire database of the universal vector geometry accessible on your computer to zoom in or look at all these various places. And Beth Hagen's another maniac. She's did a very good job on this, and points are very accurate. But it was that grid was developed as a teaching model, the geographic teaching model, but that came out of a sentence in Timaeus by Plato that said that the Earth is like a dodecahedron. And a couple of Russian fellas back in the 60s took that and said, okay, if it is, let's key it off the Great Pyramid, and found that the dodecahedron played into the geologic planes of the planet. And from there, Chris Bird of Australia, he added a few insights. And then Becker and Hagens. Becker was a student of Buckminster Fuller, and Beth Hagens was an anthropologist. So the two of them got together, and they were married, and they got involved with this project and added like all of the platonic solids were projected on the planet to create this kind of universal vector geometry. So around the planet, you have these major points, and Bimini is one of them, which is tapped into by this Pilot Mountain wheel. You can see how the radiance of lines coming out of Bimini key into these various points of the wheel. So Yeah.
Well, this is really interesting. If I can go back to when you talked about the OAS and its area and what all those very dark symbols it has, it makes so much more sense now why we would be doing this circle. And last week, even though Charlie doesn't remember, we talked about the full moon on the 31st, doing it during the time of the full moon. It would also be in conjunction with that group, Serpent Mound Star Knowledge Full Moon Ceremony of Remembrance, October 31st and November 1st. Because, you know, that's a time when those energies are going to be more active than normal, possibly, and a good time for us to bring lots of light to that area.
Start my video. You want me to start my video, Charlie?
Yeah, I was trying to shut off the thing and I shut off your video. Apologize.
I was trying to take a picture of it and I shut off my whole camera, logged myself out. So sorry.
How to interface with this energy is another something that needs to come from dreams. So if any of you get some read on this between now and next week, see about even going forward with this, or we're talking about having this private rather than.
Yeah. So yeah, this is so that was again, I talked with Shelley. That's what, I wanted to make sure she had more information, and, then she has a direct thing. So I don't think it has to be done secret, but I mean, again, that's up to other people as well. Yeah, so let's just you feel into that. If either way, I would certainly like to be part of it.
You guys, I was gonna say, if you're gonna do it, so it, like the main clearing or the reset is on the full moon, a good time to check in with that would be the new moon, which would be the Thursday to
It's the 16th.
the 16th.
Yeah.
And the dark moon is right before the new moon, so that I think it's a Wednesday and a Thursday. But that new moon will plant the seeds for the upcoming full moon. So it give you an extra boost to the power that you do on that day. It would plant the seed for the, anyway, that was just an idea since.
No, that's a very good idea. And Raul may be doing another black moon ceremony on then the 15th, like we did last time.
Well, and I was thinking if Raul knew about the circle, we could, in his moon ceremony, could send energy there too.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would be into it. I don't know, but there you got the power of that new moon working with you to help set the intention. So
Yeah, the last one we did was the black moon night, and then the next day was the new moon ceremony, both 2 days in a row there, and the energy got very strong and very powerful. At least that's how it felt to me, more than I had felt before doing his moon ceremonies. So that was a really good idea, Susan.
thanks. I think you can pull in some good energy there, and then there's still time because today's like the 6th. So there'd be time to let everybody know or do a Zoom room or something to start the intention of whatever. And then I don't know. I think that
Anyone in this group know how to contact Raul?
I don't. Shelley may, or somebody else from the connection field might.
I'm sure Shelley knows.
Shelley does, yeah.
Yeah. Or next on the moon, he's doing ceremony Thursday night, we can just ask him.
Right.
Well, that's true.
Just to ask him and get his email. I'm sure he'd be happy to put energy, I'm sure the people in the group would be happy because he's been, he's working on clearing the water and that energy. If nothing else, we can at least get his email.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
might
Remind
as well,
me, Susan.
might as well bring it up this Thursday.
Yeah, if you'll be there, that would help me remember. We can both ask. And of course,
I'll ask for his email.
and one of the reasons we looked at the 31st and the 1st, which was the full moon, and then that weekend, was because there's going to be energy from this other group, that those two, the 31st and the 1st at Serpent Mound. So if they're at Serpent Mound doing that, and we're focusing, in this circle, all around this circle with Pilot Mountain and all the other points, especially Washington D.C. and the lines, it could add a lot more power to it.
Well, that's all, again, that's all something to look forward to. I'm going to wrap this up now. Linda has now assumed the position of host, and for those of you who want to stay for the Japamala peace transmission, you're more than welcome to. Tyhson and I got the recording, so I'll try to post this on Good of the Whole or the Connection Field after I get it downloaded. Nobody has any objections. I don't think they do. And I'm going to stop the recording now.